I'm Ellen von Unwerth. I'm a photographer. I was a model like a couple of years ago. And after 10 years of modeling, I was kind of bored and, also got older. So the time was kind of up and I didn't really know what to do. And my boyfriend gave me a camera and he said, there's a plus, a circle and a minus. When the circle lights up, you shoot. And I got straight away, I was super passionate about it. And my modeling career was very quickly over because I told photographers, a bit like today, can you put the light here? It would look much better. And they were like, what is this model saying? Maybe we're not going to hire her anymore. So I just had a new style, which was more like a snapshot, more spontaneous, and I think people reacted to it very quickly. My intention was more to bring out the personality of the people I was photographing, because as a model I was very frustrated. Always the photographer always said, don't move, look to the left, to the right, don't laugh, don't move. And I was frustrated because I always wanted to live in front of the camera and do something silly and just express myself. And I was so frustrated, and when I had the camera in my hand, I just asked people to live in front of the camera and, move, express themselves, be strong, be sexy, be fun. I was always very influenced by movies, especially old movies like Fellini, like the Italian movies with Sophia Loren and all these movie stars. And I always like to recreate like a picture which looks a little bit either like a paparazzi picture or like a movie still. It started when I was doing the guest campaign with Claudia Schiffer, when she reminded me of Brigitte Bardot. I really enhanced that look with the hair and makeup. We really created this persona, which, was very different from the real Claudia Schiffer. Yeah, it was like a big success. I mean, we were all like super surprised when the guest campaign came out. At the time, there was no Instagram, but it still was like an overnight. People were like, oh my God, did you do those pictures? And I was like, it was great. It was very nice. Worked with Madonna, love Madonna. They all bring something different and also lots of memories. Well, just have to look at it. But, everybody has a different taste, so you cannot generalize. But I think what is a strong picture is something which is haunting. You want to keep looking on it. You want to go back to look at it. And, you don't know what it is, but it's probably like telling you a story, or it creates some emotion. And I think a picture needs a story, which is important. Otherwise, it's just a pretty picture, but it doesn't last in your... It's not iconic. First of all, I always have music. It's very important to me to relax people. And of course, as I know from my experience, it's like kind of, you feel very naked in front of the camera. So, you have to relax and feel comfortable. Give them a role to play, or like, you're cooking breakfast for your lover or something like that. I give them a little idea and so they get comfortable in front of the camera. When I worked a lot with Vogue, with Grace Coddington, who is like really one of my favorite stylists, and everything was possible. Why don't we have an elephant? No problem, here comes the elephant. Oh, and a monkey. Yeah, and so we did these pictures with Eva Herzigova, and she had the monkey on her back, and she was like laughing, and suddenly she made this really weird face. I was like, Eva, what's wrong? I'm doing the cover. And she's like, oh, the monkey just beat down my back. Work, find your style, see what you love, see what you don't like. You can find subjects in everyday life. You can find so many ideas, so many inspirations. Connect with people, it's important, connect with the subject and also with the people around, with the editors and clients. Be friendly to everybody, even the assistants, to everybody, because you never know. First of all, it's a rule, and second, you never know. Maybe tomorrow they're going to be the editor of Vogue. So it's very good to constantly train your eye. Not only look at Instagram, look at the real world.